Welcome, friends, on this third day of Holy Week. Today, I invite you to join me in the Godly Playroom at First Baptist. It's one of my favorite rooms and is where the children and I gather on Tuesdays and Wednesdays. Children have a natural sense of the presence of God. In Godly Play, we play with the language of God and God's people, our sacred stories, parables, liturgical actions, and silence. Through this powerful language, through our wandering, through the community of players gathered together, we hear the deepest invitation of all, an invitation to come play with God. The Godly Play method serves children through early, middle, and late childhood, and now I'm happy to share it with you. So come, join me as I share the story, Mary, Mother of Jesus. Mary, Mother of Jesus, published by Church Publisher Incorporated, is under copyright and owned by Godly Play and used with permission. When Mary was a little girl, she wondered what it would be like when she was all grown up. The years passed, and one day something happened that no one could explain. The angel Gabriel came to her and said, "God chose you to be the mother of God." But what did this mean? She was to marry a wonderful man who was a carpenter in Nazareth. His name was Joseph. Then the angel came to Joseph and said, Mary was going to have a baby, and the baby was God. Now Joseph was confused too. But Joseph and Mary married anyway, and the baby was born. And they named him Jesus. When Jesus was about 12 years old, Mary and Joseph lost him in Jerusalem, but found him in the temple. He said, "Didn't you know I would be in my Father's house?" But Joseph's house was in Nazareth, where the carpenter's shop was. The boy became more confusing as he grew older. When he began to teach, he returned to his home synagogue and read from the scroll of Isaiah. He read about the coming of a Messiah. He then said that he was the one. Mary must have remembered the angel Gabriel, but the people of Nazareth were angry. They tried to throw Jesus off a cliff. At a wedding, he changed the water into wine, and another time, Mary and his brothers came to see him when he was teaching. He said that those who followed him were his family, not them. Now his brothers were more confused. Then Jesus went to Jerusalem for the last time, and Mary was there. When they put him on the cross, she stood watching, probably standing near John. People have written beautiful and sad music about this, It is called the Stabat Mater because the mother was just standing there. What was Mary thinking? Then Jesus lifted his head and spoke to her, "Woman, behold your son." He then said to a disciple, "Behold your mother." The disciple, who was probably John, took her into his own home and cared for her in her old age. When they took Jesus down from the cross, Mary was still there. Sometimes you will see a statue or a painting of Mary holding Jesus in her lap. It is called a pieta, which means pity and a kind devotion. This is how Mary felt. The next day was very quiet and empty for Mary. Then on Sunday, the first Easter, she and the other women walked slowly back to the place where Jesus had been put in the tomb. She needed to be close to him. They found that the stone had been rolled away and that somehow Jesus was still with them, as he is with us today. When the disciples returned from Mount Olive after Jesus ascended, Mary and his brothers were with them. They waited in the upper room with the others. Mary was there a week later when the sound of the mighty wind filled the room and the Holy Spirit came like fire. No one knows when Mary died or was buried, but she was truly the Mother of God. When she was all grown up, she kept on growing. People still feel close to her. They name churches after her and make pilgrimages to places where she seems especially close. This is one of those stories that never ends. So instead of ending it, we will put down some of Mary's flowers. These are forget-me-nots because Mary will never be forgotten.